All right. So I was saying, sponsors, business stakeholders, this is your responsibility who has to find, because you will may not always have a good situation where you will be guided through all those things. You will see yourself in a situation where people will simply give you the project and now it's on your own. You have to find out the ways. But in my experience, most of the time, your manager will definitely let you know who are the main stakeholders that you have to interact with them. Obviously, when you're being hired in the team, they will introduce you to your development team. Probably you may not be introduced to the sales, marketing, accounts, but you will definitely be introduced to your managers, the project managers, the development team, all those things. And since you have to capture the requirement, you will also know who are the key stakeholders, so that you can go and talk to them. So in ideal case, yes, you will be informed about all those things, but in some of the cases, it's your responsibility to find out. So how will you find out? Obviously, you will talk to a manager and ask, okay, whom should I contact? Who is my key point of contact, or maybe the single point of contact? How should we start? So it's one of the key skill sets of the BA, and the interviewer will always would like to understand things. How would you at least kickstart things? So to answer your question, yes, probably you will be informed. And also you might be able to take initiative, like be proactive and go and ask people and document, make a list in Excel. Okay, for this project, these are the key stakeholders. So I do have this thing in my agenda when I'm gonna go ahead and train you on the requirement gathering processes. So I'll give you one of the sample where you can have the stakeholder management kind of thing, and you can list all those stakeholders with their name, their phone number, the department, their interest level, their power level, everything. So this will help you. I personally use it. It's not something required by the project, but I personally use it. I needed to know whom I should keep informed or closely monitor, or answer questions, whom I can little bit ignore, not ignore, probably can park for some time. So you have to understand all those things, and this is one of the BS key skill sets. Find all these details and connect the dots. Hope I answered the question.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. So the next slide we have is the software development lifecycle. So I have grayed out the first one, kickoff, and the last one, support. There's a reason. Some of the teams, in my personal experience, they include kickoff and support as well in the software development lifecycle. Some of them, they do not. Some of them, it starts with the requirement gathering and ends when that actual product is deployed. Deployed as in delivered to the customer. Since it is an IT training, so I'm using the technical words, which is deployed. Deployed as in deployment is done. We have delivered something to the customer. So you will always hear the term deployed, deployment, or install. Some people, they also call it install. Installation is done. So this is something you will be hearing. So for you, you should actually memorize all these points, starting with kickoff, then requirement gathering, then analysis, then design, then coding and testing, deployment, and then support. Now, what are these points? I will not take that much time. We'll give you a very quick review. So kickoff is nothing but to kickstart of the projects. The very first level meeting where everybody will be discussing what is the project is all about, and officially we are starting this project today. So in the kickoff meeting, as a BA, you may be invited, you may not be invited. So don't worry about that. Basically, this kickoff happens at the higher level, the management level. They have got some agreements done. They have some funding cleared. Now they have to start the project. So how they will start? So obviously, before they have anything to start, they will at least find out who the project manager will be, probably who the BA will be as well, because BA is a very key person who will be actually going ahead and understanding and capturing the requirement. So in most of the cases, BA will always be there. Some of the cases of what I have seen is the PMs, they actually capture the requirement initially, and then they hand it over to the BS with some details and the background. So in the kickoff meeting, probably your business senior folks will be there, your PMs will be there, probably someone from the sales, someone from the finance, someone from the human resource, probably you will be there. So this kickoff meeting is nothing but to officially start. Okay, now we have been cleared everything with the sign off, blah, blah, blah. Now this sign off is not the requirement sign off. This sign off is a project sign off, which is happening at the top level. So they have other terms and conditions, and then they will sign off the project. and then this project will come to one of the project teams. Let's say your team got this project, so your project manager will be part of the kickoff. Probably you as a BA will be part of this kickoff meeting. So this will be just to give you a high level background of the project, high level timelines, high level customer expectations, high level budget, and you will be given a project, and then you have to make sure you are doing the project within those expectations. Now, you can ask me, are they captured somewhere? Yes, in most of the time you will get a project charter. Now, what is this project charter? You as a BA do not have to worry about that. It's a PM responsibility. But just to give you a background, project charter is nothing but to high level business requirement document. So this is actually not a BRD. It's something kind of a contract. This charter will have everything high level business stakeholders. You will see high level, the timelines, probably a high level budget. Charter does not have the budget in detail, but probably a high level. Okay, this is the maximum budget we have to complete the project, all those high levels. And based on that charter document, that document will also say who will be the project manager, who will be the, BA, blah, 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 all those things, who will be the technical architect. And based on that charter document, your project manager will actually create a project and will assign to you as a BA. Now, how that PM is creating the project could be a whole lot different story, using some internal tools. Probably a project was already created by someone, and that has been assigned to your project manager. So don't go on those things, just understand things. In the kickoff meeting, probably you will be given a charter document, your project manager, your team will be given. And from there, the first stage of the software development lifecycle is to actually understand what is needed, the requirement gathering. So you have to collect the requirement. Now, each of these chapters we will discuss in detail. When we say requirement gathering, what does it mean? And it has like huge 1-2 hour sections discussion for us. So we'll do that separately in future meetings, in our future trainings. So once you have captured the requirement, now this capturing requirement will only focus on what is needed, why needed, and when needed, and sometimes where needed. But basically 3 things: what, why, and when. Now you will do analysis. The further analysis is like nothing but elicitation of the requirement. And now I have captured everything. That requirement may have a lot of things that I really don't need, or probably it's not possible, not feasible. So you will further analyze that, go little deep down, and you find out, okay, what can be done, what cannot be done, if not done, why, if done, why, if cannot, can we do things differently? Do we have some limitations on the technology we have, the resources we have, the timeline we have, all blah, 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 all those things. So during analysis, you do all those things. And whom you do this analysis with? Your development team. Most of the time, your managers and some experts, probably from outside. But in general, you will only be doing these things along with your development team. When I'm saying development team, this is everyone, the developers, the testers, all those things. When I'm saying developers, the backend developers, front-end developers, if you're not aware of all these terms, just relax. We will discuss in detail later on. For now, you will be doing those analysis along with your team. Now, design is very important. Now I know what is needed. I have gone ahead and reviewed what time it will take, kind of thing, high level, what is the budget it will require, what resources I need. Now I have to start working. So before actually I start working, I need to have some design, right? What should be, it's like you're building a new house. You need some house architects, on what basis you will know, okay, where I'm gonna do the piling, where I'm gonna do the wall and all those things, where I'm gonna have the kitchen, where I'm gonna have the bedroom, how my master bedroom should look like. So if, let's say, your requirement is to build a house, so you will go and understand the requirement. What is the house? What kind of requirement customer needs? 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, master bedroom, blah, 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 all those things. And then you will do some analysis of if that is actually possible or not. And then you will do some designs. You need to have the architect, for that house. Otherwise, you cannot work. Now, the question is, do we really need architect always? Yes and no, both. If something is already built, a house was already built, there's some maintenance project you have got, you do not need the design, right? Because this was already built. But something which was not there, or something probably you are going ahead and doing some changes, you may need design. So design may or may not need, but when needed, you have to do the design. And then you will actually start coding. Coding as in now you have the house requirement, you did your analysis, you did some architecture. Now you're actually going ahead and start building that house. So coding in a development technical term, now everything is done. Now I'm going to go ahead and start writing codes for that requirement. Once the code is written, you will have to do the some testings. How would you ensure if the requirement is the work that we have done is actually as per the requirements? You have to do some testings. So testing itself has a big word. You will do some unit testing at your level, some functional testings at your level, some component testings, and then this will be end-to-end testing by the customers. You will have some user acceptance testing. You will have all those SIT kind of testing. So we will discuss in detail. For now, you have to understand whatever we have developed, somebody has to test and approve if this is as per the requirement or not. Now it is tested, it is approved, customer says, okay, this is exactly we wanted, now we are approving this one. Now you go ahead and deliver this to us. So now the next stage of the software development lifecycle is you will go ahead and actually deploy or install that software or the product to the business environment, or as per the requirement, whatever the environment customer is giving you. Once it is deployed, you have some support window, and that this again comes on the contract. Business might be asking you, once you have installed or deployed, you have to provide me like 30-day support or 90-day support or maybe a week support. So what that support will look like, this will again be discussed by the management. And during the support, are we really going to give the trainings, or are we really going to monitor things if something's stopping, not working? There's some concern issue, so we will fix it, free of cost. Let's say something is broken, it's not working. So during the support window, I will not charge you anything. I will go ahead and fix it and deliver it to you free of cost, right? But once that support window is passed, probably I will charge you, unless you have annual maintenance kind of thing from us. It's like all business words. You don't have to worry about that as a BA. So what you have to worry about is, if support window is there, agreed from the business, as a BA, you will have to be available to provide any support, because you are the main person business knows. So business will reach out to you always, probably your project manager or probably you, because you have interacted really larger than any other team members. You're always working very closely with business. So they will reach out to you and say, like, hey, this is not working. So now you have to go and do some analysis. When customer is saying that not working, what does it mean? Is it really a bug? Is it really something is not working? Or is that something some training needs? Customer needs some training, he doesn't know how to use it. Let's say the phone, customer is using typing and not pressing the send button and saying, hey, your phone does not send the message, it's a bug, it's a problem, I'm not going to use it. So as a BA, you will have to analyze that issue, what exactly is happening. So you will again spend some time, work with business and ask, what do you mean by not working? So business will say, hey, I'm just typing this message, but it's not sending to anyone. So you will say, hey, sir, this is a training issue. You need to know how to use the phone. You have to write a number and then you have to press the send icon button. Then only this will send. So my product has no issues. It's all about you don't know how to use it. So this comes to training. So under support, do we really have to provide training free of cost? It's everything comes in the support contract that your company is making with the other company or the business. This could be internal or external. You might be working for the internal business as well. So I'm just giving you an example of what you do under support. What is your responsibility under support? So you have to, first level, you have to do some analysis. And if you do not understand something, you will reach out to a development team and they will help you understand what the customer is actually asking from you. So this is the phase, the life cycle, like life cycle, when I'm saying it's like generic English term, life cycle, like a baby borns and one day he dies or she dies. And he or she does a lot of things, he goes to school, marry, baby, blah, 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 and then he dies. So a human life cycle, this is a human life cycle. When somebody burns or somebody dies, it's human life cycle. Same goes ahead with the software development life cycle. If you're developing a software, there are different life cycles that you have to go through. So this 8 things are part of those software development life cycle. Start with the kickoff, then requirement gathering, then analysis, then design, then coding and testing, deployment and support. This is something you have to memorize really well. And the interviewer will definitely ask you, what is software development life cycle and what is your role as a BA in each phase of this life cycle? This is a very common and very hit question, and you will 100% see this question in the interviews. I'm telling you. So you have to prepare this question very well. So we will help you. When we actually start working this in the software development lifecycle, I'll tell you what you are doing in the requirement gathering, what you're doing in the analysis, and what is your role in design, what is your role in coding, blah, 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 all those things. Right. So hope this is clear. There's nothing to understand more, but to memorize and practice. You have to just memorize these terms step by step. You should not be like shuffling and changing the position. This goes 1 till 8. Yes, you have any questions?
Uh, in this whole life cycle, and a business analytic could be analysis could be hired in any place.
Um, uh, I'm not sure if I understood your question correctly, but I think you're asking what phase of this life cycle will have more work for the BA. Is that something I understood you correctly?
I
No.
mean, as a business analyst, he
Mhm.
could be hired in any step of the life cycle. Means he could be hired in a kickoff meeting, or he could be hired in the while the project is
Yes,
in a
you're right.
testing mode, or it could be in any.
You can be hired in any of the phases, but ideally what happens, you will be working from the start. Probably you may not be hired in the kickoff meeting. After a kickoff meeting, probably the project manager or team will start building and acquiring the team. So during that phase you may be hired, or let's say there was a B already working, or he or she moved to another project or resigned, whatever, then you may be hired in middle of the project. So probably at that point in time, the project is in design phase, or the project is in coding phase. So you may start from there. So plugging in middle of the project sometimes is difficult. How do you handle? We will hopefully we'll also study that as well. But the answer is yes, you can be hired in any of the phases.
Right, not from 1 to 8. It could be in 3 or 4 stages, and then
Exactly.
the person has to get catch up with the previous and the future ones, right?
Exactly. True. True.
Okay, thank you.
True. And as a BA, you may not necessarily be working just for one project. Probably you may be assigned 3, 4 projects altogether. So you will be working like with 3 or 4 different clients at the same time. So probably in one project, you are in the kickoff phase. In one project, you're in like support or deployment, whatever. But yeah, the answer is yes, you can be hired in any of the phases during the software development lifecycle. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, guys? If you have any question, please raise your hand. Next is the project lifecycle. Now, this is something you don't need to really worry about that. This is for the project managers, not the BAs. The project has some life cycle within one project. What is project actually? Okay, I'll discuss this in detail in the future courses. The project is something that has end and start date. There has to be some end date. If you do not have the end date, that is ideally is not a project, is an operations. Operations does not have any end date. They just keep on working. So if you have an end date, that is a project. So the project has a life cycle. If that is ending somewhere, then there's a life cycle. As we have the software development life cycle, we are developing something within one project. I got one project to build a new iPhone, So that building a new iPhone is one project for me, one project, and that project has a development life cycle. We are actually developing the new iPhone, right? So during the development, we have a different life cycles we just studied. Now we're learning what is the project life cycle. Once that iPhone uh, is built, developed, manufactured, so that project will be ending. So what is the project life cycle? You don't have to be confused. So project life cycle is nothing but we initiate something. You're initiating something, taking initiative and starting a new project. Now, once the project initiated, now how is this different? Initiation probably can have your kickoff meeting. Initiation is nothing but the kickoff meeting, right? And then you have to plan the project. Let's say I have to build new iPhone, or maybe I have to build a new house. I need to have some plans with me. Without the plan, I cannot work. This is very, very best saying that I always say. If you spend 2 hours in planning, you will definitely end up saving at least 8 hours during the executions. So do not worry about spending 2 hours during the planning. This will save you 8 hours. If you save 2 hours, you will end up spending 8 hours here and there. So without a plan, you cannot do any work. Even in your kitchen, you cannot cook biryani without a plan. You need to have a good plan for that, what I need, blah, 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 all those things. So planning is very important. So for any of the projects, initiation is the first phase, and then you have planning and a schedule. You have to plan how I'm going to do these things, and then you actually start developing. You actually start working all those things, the actual on ground work. And during the work, you also have to monitor and control things. You will not monitor how is it going. When I'm saying monitor, as in, are we working as per the plan? Are we spending the amount, the budget that we have been allocated, and we have planned, okay, by this point in time, we will be spending this much of amount. Are we on track? Or are we over budget? Are we under budget? Or did we really complete all those things? So this everything comes under monitor and control. If you're going below or above that control limit, you have to control things. Let's say you had $100 for one week work, and just after 2 days you spend $80. You have $20 with you, so you have to control that cost and budget. Otherwise, your project will fail. So this monitoring and controlling is something being done by your project manager, not you. Project manager might be reaching out to you, asking your feedback, but he or she will be ultimately responsible for monitoring and controlling, and closing as well. Closing as in, we have to close something. So what are the things? How would you ensure that the project is closed? Customer will not pay you unless the project is closed. So there are some closing statements, some closing formalities that you have to do. Then both parties will be set apart. Okay, now I'm done. Now it's all yours. You do whatever you wanted to do. So this everything is actually just these responsibilities lie under project manager's roles. You don't have to worry about that. But why I'm talking it here is you need to understand what is the project life cycle. So you initiate things, then you plan things, and then you actually start working on the ground, and then you monitor and control things, and then you close things. There are 5 stages in the project life cycle, and all software development life cycle lies into these 5 stages. Now, under planning, what are the different software development life cycle falls? I'll let you know in different classes. For now, you just have to memorize these things and nothing else, the stages. Most likely will not be asked this question, what is the project life cycle? But you may be asked as well, because as I said on day one, BA works really parallel to the project manager. So you are ultimately a next project manager, right? So you need to understand things, that's all. Okay, any questions on this one? On project life cycle?
No, we don't. I'm good.
Okay, one question. As a business analyst, you are in a software project which is currently under initiating phase, the first phase where we are initiating the project, and you are planning scope management. You are actually planning what is the scope is needed, and what we have to do, what we do not have to do. Which of the below technique you should be using? I want everybody to answer, please. You can answer in the chat. You can write your ABC, just ABC, right in the chat. You see a chat window on the Zoom. Just write your answer, A, B, or C. And if you don't understand the question, just ask me. I'll answer you the question. I'll make you understand. Help make you easy for you to understand. Quick, guys. We don't have that much time. We're running out of time.
I don't know the answer, but I'm guessing D.
D. Okay. Okay. Simon says yes. Wasim. Amber says D. Wasim. Do we still have Samira on call?
Sorry?
It's a
No. I'm asking what is the answer. Just type A, B, C, or D in the chat.
Okay.
Wasim. Make it quick, guys. We don't have that much time.
yeah, it's A. I've already typed it in
Oh,
chat.
I did not see your type. Chat in the Zoom chat, not WhatsApp chat.
No.
I don't. Oh yeah, I just saw it. A. Samira, what is your answer? Quick. You don't have to be.
I
that-
think my answer D to A for majority.
all right. So the answer is C. So you are in a very initial phase of the software development. You're in the initiating phase. So initiating phase, like you're kicking off. You actually have not started doing any other things. So during the kickoff meeting, when you have the requirements, basically you'll be using the expert judgment and nothing else. You don't know what is the requirements and how would you use 3-point estimation. What is the 3-point estimation? We will learn. What is Monte Carlo? We don't know. We'll learn. Project charter, I just told you, project charter is the very high level, the very first labeled document that you will be given that will tell the high level of all the projects, the budgets, the resources. So what is remaining here is expert judgment. You need some expert advice from the people and nothing else, in the very initial phases. And when you actually start working on the ground, you will learn a lot of things. Next question, don't take like more than 5-10 seconds. You have captured the business requirement. Now, what I'm saying, read the question carefully. You have captured the business requirement, discussed and agreed with internal team. What will be one of your deliverables? Now, what is deliverables? You know all that, right? We do something and we deliver something. That final piece of the work is deliverables. Like I'm building a house. So what will be my deliverables? To hand over the house key to someone. I'm writing a book. Book will be the deliverables. I'm making a tea. So ultimately, I'm giving teas to someone. That tea is my deliverables. So here, you have captured the requirement. You agreed the requirement with the internal team and everything is done. What is something you're producing? Answer, please. Quick, guys. Okay, I don't have that much time. So moving to the next, the requirement documentation. So whatever you capture the requirement, you have to document somewhere. So ultimately you are, delivering the requirement documentations, So basically the business requirement is captured in some of the documentation. Now what we call it is a separate story. We call it BRD, blah, blah, we'll talk separately. But the deliverables is the requirement document. Next question, there is a requirement that initially you marked as possible out of scope. You said this will not be done. This is not possible. However, during the scope definition, when you are actually drilling it down, finding the scoping and all, it appears to be in scope. Initially, you thought this is not possible, but now you believe, okay, I think this can be done. So what is the best possible way to confirm? The question is asking, you said, you believe, as a BA, you believe this was not possible, this cannot be done. Now, again, you believe based on your research, yeah, right, it looks like it can be done. So how would you confirm that if this can be done or cannot be done? I'm just trying to make it very simple for you to understand the question.
D.
Okay, any other answers?
D.
Guys, everyone please participate. Any other answer, please?
Yeah, D, I've given in the chat.
With some reason, I don't see the chat. I'm sorry, my bad. Okay, yes, answer is D. It looks like, yes, answer is obviously, if you do not understand something, you have any doubts, you will definitely go ahead and talk to your project team and they will help you understand, or someone who has worked before on the project. So this is the right answer. One of your team members decides to further break down an epic into smaller requirements. What activity your project team is performing? Actually, I did not teach you guys. It's not talking about there was a larger piece of the work, and now your team members is making it smaller parts so that this can easily be managed and work. So what is this activity is doing? It's called decomposition. I did not teach you, so I'm not gonna have you guess things. So decomposition is nothing but to slicing it down to the smaller manageable chunks. The last question, during user acceptance testing, customer requested to add a new feature to the product, which is critical to the business. Your team confirms it is feasible. As a business analyst, what should be your approach? It is asking, you're doing UAT, business acceptance testing, and UAT is done once the project is developed, completed. Now, business is testing if this can be accepted. During the test, the business is asking you something to add, and your team confirms, yeah, this can be done. But as a BA, what should be your approach? Quick, we don't have time. The meeting will
A.
end.
I'll
B.
go for A.
Okay.
B.
Who said B?
B.
Me. Samira.
Samira, okay. Amar Bhai said yes. Samira said B. And Wasim, Saima?
Yeah, it's B. I've
B.
already.
B, okay. Saima?
B.
B, cool. Let me see the answer. Yes, B. You should not be accepting. Even that is possible, you will not be accepting things. You have to go through some change management process. Even that is possible, you will not accept and you will not deny even. You will not say, I will not take it. You will take it through some change request. because we are doing the UAT. It's like everything is done, the development is done. Now you're testing to accept or reject. So at that point in time, we cannot add something to the project. We'll have to go through some change request process. Now, what this process looks like, we'll discuss in detail when we study further. Oh, here's one more. One of your team members approaches you and suggests to add a small feature to the requirement which business has not asked, whereas we'll certainly be happy to get it. Okay. What also it will not impact delivery timeline. What will you do? Okay, you got it. One of your team members says, we can add more to the business requirement and this will not impact anything and business will be really happy. So what will be your approach? What will you do?
C.
Cool. Looks like this is scope creep. You should not be doing this thing. Hence, you will deny your team member. Tip, or end of the course. So you have to understand the basics, the definition of the key terms. You know, like at the page 1, I had some key terms and I requested, and I explained to you and requested you to learn all those things. So before you learn, you have to understand. This will really make your life easy during the interviews, because if the interviewer is using the word key, scope creep, goal plating, and if you do not understand the meaning and you have just memorized the terms, you will not be able to answer the questions. It's important for you to understand what those terms are. And before you answer the questions, you have to recognize the topic of the questions, and then you have to dismiss a lot of unrelated things. Sometimes you will see the interviewer will ask you very wordy questions, like the big questions. So you don't have to be tricked. You have to understand what is the person is asking, what topic is he asking. Is he asking about the requirement gathering or analysis or design? And then you have to focus your answer then and there. Now, how would you come to this situation? Obviously, when you understand things, you will easily know what is someone is trying to ask, and you can correct the person. Customer, the interviewer will trick you. I mean, they are supposed to trick you. They wanted to understand if you really understand things or not. So you'll have to understand things. You need to learn how do you find out the actual thing from the wordy questions. And how you will do, obviously, the more you practice, the more you learn, the more you will be in a situation to do these things. Do not get caught up on any one question. Let's say if you're doing a written test and something you don't know, just skip it, move to the next, right? You don't need, and no answer is better than wrong answer at least during interviews. If you keep trying giving the wrong answer and trying to convince the interviewer, it will piss them off. You don't do this one. If you don't know, just say I don't know, or ask them to rephrase the question for you. Alrighty. For the purpose of the interview, the interviewer way is 100% correct. Whatever the interviewer wants to hear from you is 100% correct. Don't try to pose your things, try to answer the way you understand. You both may be understanding the same thing, but there's a certain way the interviewer wants to hear the answer in that way. And how would you know what way she wants to hear the answer? Again, this comes along with your preparations, your knowledge, your expertise, your practice, and you will easily know what is someone is trying to listen from you, and you can answer that way. If you do not answer, they will not hire you, even if you know the answer. So trust me, boss is always right. So interviewer way is always 100% correct. Answer the way, but you don't have to answer incorrectly. If the interviewer is saying right now it is night, you don't have to say night. You don't have to agree with that. It's not night, right? So you have to balance things. Practice as many questions you can. Obviously, practice is the key. The common terms you will learn during this course may live with you forever. Obviously, throughout your life, through your career, you will always be using these terms. So just learn carefully. Summary, you have learned a little bit about the BRD, the requirement documentations document. What exactly is this? It's like document that helps project in holding the project together and keep on track. So we have not discussed really in detail about the BID. So I'll just quickly skip this section, and probably when we study, we'll go and review this section. But we have at least high level touched these things, but you will not be able to understand everything, so you can skip it for now. Thank you. Any questions, guys, before I let you go back to your work? Any questions from anyone?
No, thank you so much for your time.
Anyway, if I want to go back, like the terms to understand properly, can I have the recording of today's? I started in like half hour later.
Of course.
The meeting.
Yeah, I'll share you the recordings and the link in the WhatsApp chat so you can download. But
Yes.
remember one thing, this will delete the recording within 30 days, if I'm not wrong, by default. So you have to download on your local machine so that you can
No, it's
work
fine. I'm
with
going
it.
to do it today, so I will catch up with the words I missed.
Sure,
Thank you.
cool. All right, so I think we are late. We took 15 more minutes in this meeting, but we'll try to wrap it up quickly from the next meetings, within the timeline what we have. Thank you very much all of your time, and we'll
Thank
talk to you
you.
in the next meetings. Bye, take care.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz all.
Allah Hafiz.